All right, the guy just said I set a record. I think this is $800 worth of books. 5 bags here at Barnes & Noble. So my question to you is, what is your knowledge budget? Most people, if you go through their closet, like if you watch MTV Cribs, they show their shoes, they show all their, you know, what I call RRD expenses, things that rust, rot, and depreciate. This stuff you should be spending. Now I don't always spend $800. Like sometimes I spend 50 bucks, but you have to have a daily brain budget. You know, people have all kinds of budgets for shoes, stupid stuff, budgets for rent, even food. Now, obviously you have to eat, but it'd be better to skip a meal, skip some sushi, costs $100, take the $100 and put it here. At the end of the day, there's only one person on this planet that will take care of you or will take care of you best. It's you. You're the only person in possession of 100% of your DNA. So let me just share with you the type of books that I like to buy. This is not even sure that I bought that book. How did this one, Kenna, how did this one get in here? Did you buy that? I don't know. This one's on History, World War I. Okay, I think one book slipped in here we didn't mean to buy. I've got a book on autobiography, Courage of John F. Kennedy. I've got books on Martin Luther King Jr. I love autobiographies in history and biographies, but I've also got some I got some health ones. Make sure you're investing in health. Eat to Live by Furman. I've got Mindset, New Psychology of Success. Mike Huckabee, if you like a little politics. I'm not very political. Now, one thing you can do when you buy a whole bunch of books, and by the way, if you're on a budget, you know, I buy a lot of books because I've got a book club and there's a business purpose for them, even though I bought them even before I had the book club. But if you're on a budget, just go to a used bookstore too. I like to support Barnes & Noble because I don't want every bookstore in the world to be out of business. But for you, you can pick up books. I was in New York City. They've got guys selling books on the side of the street for talking. You could buy, I probably bought, I don't know, 30 books. You could buy 30 books for $30. They have $1, $2, $3 books, even on Amazon and used. What else did I get here? Can you help me pull some of these out? Got a book on how to improvise, increase your creativity. I've got one on state troopers and their stories up in Alaska. I like books about courage. Here's a more political one on when the rise and fall of, when civilization fails. So, you know, I was just over at some clothing store, some big department store, and there was thousands of people everywhere. And this is at the Grove in LA, and I find it ironic that there's so few people in here. Like in the world that I'd love to live in, there's a line, thousands of people in Barnes & Noble, and there's, you know, 100 people in the department store. But it's backwards now. People have their values flipped around. And I'm not talking about, you know, cheesy values. I'm saying value yourself. You don't have to be religious or anything. If you don't value yourself, who will? I've got a book about Siamese twins. These two guys, I read this story once. These two guys were married to 2 different women, even though they were connected. Crazy story. I figured find out how the heck they lived their life, persevered through all those obstacles. Got a book on Pat O'Brien. I love hearing stories I like celebrity stories just because there's a lot of insight on when you get to the top of any field. Ghetto Side, a true story of murder. Someone's killed every day in LA County, murder. And this is the story of police investigation, corruption potentially, I don't know. We'll find out. So, as you can see, one of the things that I think is a trick that Alan Nation and Joel Salads had taught me is you gotta be eclectic. What you can do is buy lots of books like this and just read 1 or 2 chapters of each one in one day. So I read a book a day and I'll read a full book, but I flip it around. Sometimes I like variety. So sometimes I'm reading a full book. Sometimes I read a couple summaries. Sometimes I'll get like 5 books. I found this works really well. And just read like a couple pages from each one and then see how they intersect. That's called being eclectic. It means different divergent viewpoints getting into your brain. Stephen Johnson, really one of the top authors right now and one of my favorites, he says that creativity can go up in an exponential way. It's called the law of negative power scaling. It's a physicist came up with this concept, And basically it says, you know, a city that has 50,000 people versus a city with 5,000 people isn't just, you would think it'd be 10 times more creativity coming out of it. No, it's 50 times, because the more ideas coalesce and intersect and bump around in your brain from different sources, the more creativity it goes, so it gets a compounding effect. So if you read 5 books in one day, not even the full books, if that's too hard for you, reading one page from 5 different well-crafted books, you'll actually, it won't just be like getting 5 times more ideas in your brain. It'll be, according to that negative power scaling, it's something more like, you know, 50 times more knowledge in your head, or 25 times. So try that sometimes too. So anyway, I just thought, people ask me, you know, how I'm doing books, and this is kind of how I do it. Sometimes I'll buy 50 books, and sometimes I'll buy 1. Mix it up. Keep life full of variety. Like the old cliche, variety is the spice of life. Let's see what's the last book I got here. Oh, The Opposite of Spoiled. Raising kids who are grounded. What else here? I buy parenting books, even though it's not completely applicable to me. Oh, this is cool. How volunteering around the globe changed one family's life forever. I thought that's cool. I always tell people, if you're broke, you have nothing to lose. The best thing you could do is sell everything. You don't have much, travel around the world. That's what I did. I went to 51 countries. Now, some of that's when I was in business, but a lot of it was when I was completely broke. So go when you're broke. Like I said, be like, if you ever seen that movie Motorcycle Diaries, jump on a motorcycle and just take off. Obviously, if you have responsibilities, it's a little harder. But anyway, I love the ideas. We need more creativity. That's what will solve the problems in the world. Everything that's wrong will be solved through creativity and investing in the individual's brain. Start with yours, okay? So, question for you. What's the best book you have read recently that I should be reviewing, or that you want to share with other people watching this video? All right? Leave a comment below. Leave a review if this is on podcast, and make sure that no matter what you do, you don't be cheap with buying stuff for yourself. Be cheap on the stupid stuff. All right? So subscribe, and I will talk to you tomorrow.